Well, that's me. Always behind the camera, always flying the drone on Buggy Day and never getting behind the wheel. I did get to drive a little bit, but I actually love watching my creations all drive together and the happiness it brings all the people that get to drive them. So the big question is, this is called a Crosskart shootout, and it's not the analytical, structured test that I was hoping for. And I got a lot of apologies that day from the guys. They were saying, once you get behind the wheel, you're not thinking, hey, stop here, wait for a cue to go. You're just out there driving and you just forget everything, which I understood. I wasn't mad about it. So I just tried to get all the good footage I could, tried to get some side-by-side action. So in the end, the answer to all of the questions about which is better, which one should I do, is pretty easy. They're all very similar. They're all equal in different ways. The Polaris 27, it is the most balanced of the three. It's not the strongest, it's not the fastest, but you can get behind the wheel and feel like a pro driver because it doesn't want to spin out so much because it doesn't have that extra power. I've been tuning the suspension for a couple years, so it's pretty locked in. It feels good. The KTM is the torque monster, so it's actually the more advanced of the three. You got to be pretty good with your right foot to get behind the wheel of it, or else you'll just be spinning. The 600 actually handles the best out of all of them, which it is the third rendition. I know I finished it second, but it was the third build. So the chassis on it is the absolute finest. It's the one I did the build series on. I streamlined the process for building it and just tightened everything up, and it really shows on that chassis. It feels good to drive. It feels solid. And about that one, we shot this over 2 days. The first day, I swapped in the Crosskart tires, the little tiny ones, and it wasn't running right. It was only about, 50%. So only one of us could actually harness the power of that thing, and he just basically kept it at 12 grand the whole time to get anything out of it. So I brought him home, and the 600 had a loose coil wire. 2 loose coil wires. The connections I made for it just weren't fitting on the coils tightly, and I'm guessing that's why it dropped the valve, that it was cutting in and out. So it's a miracle that I didn't blow another motor by not fixing it. So got that fixed. I put the Buggy tires back on, and we wanted some. So we went back out. The 600's running at almost full power. It still needs a tune, still needs rejetted, but all the power was there. It was all you wanted. It was great, and those tires would really hook it up, and it made that thing just a whole different machine, and everybody loved it. So yes, they are all equal. The 27 could keep up with the 600 because you could drive it at 100% and not worry about it getting away from you. The 600, you have to keep it in the rev range to be fast. It doesn't have the low-end grunt of the ATV engines. So if you're not comfortable revving it from 10 to 13.5, then you're not going to get the full power out of it. If you're short shifting it, not double clutching like you ought to be, then you're just not going to keep up with the ATVs because they've got so much low-end grunt. And if you treat the throttle as a button rather than a range, then KTM's going to get away from you, and you're just going to spin out, and everybody's going to take off away from you. So they're all equal in that manner, that they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. Obviously, more seat time would give you more experience, more talent behind the wheel. My favorite is still the KTM. It's a driver's machine. I tell everybody that gets in it, if you're going around a corner and you push it to full throttle, it's going to spin, no matter what gear you're in. So it takes a lot of finesse to drive it. But once you grab that, it is so doggone fast. It feels like you can do anything in it. You can do the biggest drifts. You can do fast donuts. If you can get it to hook up, the straight line performance is phenomenal. But top end, it's probably the slowest. I think the KTM motor itself is only geared for like 85. So in a straight line race with an unlimited finish line, it's going to be in last place. The 600, the Yamaha, is going to be in first place because it'll do 127 miles an hour. And the number 27, Polaris 500, is geared for, I think, about 90. So you saw the Polaris keeping up with the Yamaha 600 really well. And like I said, it depends on the driver. The guy that was driving the KTM, it was his first time behind the wheel of one of these buggies, and he just could not get it to hook up. So I never got a good drag race where all three had the right driver behind the wheel. We switched out a lot, but just that key person didn't get in the KTM when I was flying the drone. So I hope you guys like it. I know there's going to be a lot of questions, hopefully a lot of chatter about it. I'm going to put this up on the Facebook and hopefully start some discussions. There's so many people building them, and I get questions every day, like what engine should I use, what suspension should I use, is there an alternate for a rear end? So yeah, stay tuned, there's definitely more to come, and thank you for watching.